Long ago, before time took its first breath, before the stars even knew how to shine, there was light, and in that light stood the most radiant being ever created, Lucifer. But he wasn't evil. He didn't wear horns or wings of ash and flame. No, he was beautiful, brilliant. He was the morning star. Crafted by the divine itself, Lucifer's wings shimmered with pure light, each feather echoing the breath of creation. He walked heaven's halls not with arrogance, but with certainty. He was the angel of music, of wisdom, of presence. The choir of angels sang his compositions. They looked up to him. Some say they even loved him more than they feared God. And God said nothing. He simply watched. Because even in a kingdom built on eternal order, there's always a moment when balance begins to tremble. And it all started with a thought, a whisper. Why should I worship when I was born to be adored? Pride doesn't crash in like thunder. It arrives quietly, like a shadow behind the sun. Lucifer, he started to see the love of the angels not as a reflection of God's glory, but as a mirror of his own. He no longer saw himself as a servant, but as an equal. And slowly, as the stars circled above, he asked the question no one had ever dared speak in heaven. Why must he reign when I can rise? The whisper turned into a murmur, the murmur a hum, until one day something stirred across heaven, soft, silent, but undeniable. Some noticed. Michael, the warrior of light, watched his brother drift further and further. But Lucifer, his voice was velvet, like wine, like honey. He wrapped truth in golden chains. He didn't demand power, he promised freedom. He didn't speak of war, he spoke of awakening. And angels listened. A third of heaven leaned in. Lucifer had not yet fallen, but pride had already begun to pull him down. In the highest court of heaven, angels gathered around the radiant throne. Seraphim sang, cherubim danced on the winds of glory, and in the center stood Lucifer. His wings shimmered with impossible light, his presence unmatched. He was beauty, he was brilliance, but today he was uneasy. He watched the hosts bow in reverence before the Creator. Their joy was pure, their love unquestioned, and yet, inside, Lucifer stirred a quiet unrest. Why must all praise ascend to one? Are we who serve so perfectly not worthy of glory ourselves? It was a thought he did not voice, not yet, but in his heart it echoed like thunder across still water. Lucifer did not bow. He stood, head high, eyes glowing, not with rebellion, but with something older, ambition. Beyond the gardens of light, beneath a firmament of stars, Lucifer walked alone. Heaven's voices were behind him. Only wind and silence remained. He reached toward the sky, not in prayer, but in hunger. What if I could create? What if I, too, could be the source of light? The thought shimmered like fire in his mind. He raised his hand, imagined galaxies swirling in his palm, a universe of his own design. His eyes no longer sought the Creator. They burned with vision. And the wind carried the echo. I will rise. The fall had already begun. Not with violence, but with a whisper. Lucifer returned, but silence no longer held him. He began to speak, to the curious, to the quiet, to the ones who looked at him not in fear, but in wonder. He asked, "Must love always kneel? Can we not grow beyond obedience?" Some turned away, but few listened. Lucifer raised no army, no banners, no threats, only an idea. What if heaven could change? And in that idea, a spark was born. It wasn't war, not yet, but it was separation. Heaven had always been one, until now. It didn't take long. Michael stood before the throne, wings tight, voice steady. "My Lord, something stirs in the hearts of our kind, a fire, a fracture, and at its center is him." Lucifer stood across the chamber, unmoved. The Creator spoke no wrath, no thunder, only silence, and in that silence all trembled. Lucifer stepped forward. He did not bow. "I only ask," he said, "why obedience must be eternal." The chamber pulsed with light. Some angels turned their faces. Others looked to the throne. Michael's hand moved toward his sword. The Creator raised a hand. Stillness. And with a voice soft as creation's first dawn, he spoke. "Your path is no longer aligned with heaven's, but you will walk it to the end." Lucifer's eyes did not flinch, and the sky began to change. The angels who followed Lucifer did not march. They gravitated, drawn not by threat but by vision. Heaven was light, but they sought freedom. They sought meaning beyond worship. And so quietly, a third of heaven shifted. Names once sung in choirs now whispered in secret. Wings that once soared in harmony now moved apart. Lucifer stood among them, no longer just the morning star, but now a leader, a symbol, and above clouds began to form. For the first time heaven darkened, not with night, but with consequence. The day came when words were no longer enough. Heaven's air turned tense, still, a silence like the breath before a storm. Lucifer and his host stood to one side, Michael and the loyal to the other. No screams, no chaos, just the slow drawing of celestial blades. The Creator at the center wept, not with regret, but with the sorrow of inevitable truth. A choice had been made. The harmony of creation shattered, and heaven prepared for its first war. Light clashed against light. No blood spilled. Choice angels do not bleed. Combating, but essence tore through the heavens. Lucifer led with fire in his wings. Brilliance became his weapon. Michael answered. His sword, truth forged in divine will, cut through the stars like thunder. The skies trembled, galaxies blinked. The music of heaven turned to cries. Still, sorrow lingered. They had sung together once. Now, they struck, and the stars wept. The end came, with triumph but with finality. Michael stood above Lucifer. Lucifer looked up, not in fear, but in pride unbroken. "You will not destroy me," he said. Michael nodded. "No, but you will descend." The heavens tore open, a wound in eternity. Lucifer and his followers fell. Wings scorched, confessed, lined dimmed. From radiance to shadow, the morning star became a memory of light. Lucifer did not fall alone. A third of heaven followed, some with sorrow, heralded, some with pride. Together, they descended. Above them, the sky closed, the divine gate sealed, and what awaited below was not earth, not fire, but void, a realm between realms, less timeless. Lucifer, wings broken, but spirit unbent, stood in the darkness. He did not scream, he did not weep. He looked upward and whispered, "I will build my throne here." And the void minimized towards his will. In the great nothingness, shapes began to form, not by divine will, but by defiance. Lucifer, the fallen morning star, shaped a kingdom from ruin. Black towers rose, rivers of fire carved paths through frozen stone. His followers, names once unspeakable, rallied. Their wings darkened, revived, their purpose sharpened. A realm was born. Not heaven, not hell, something else. And at its heart, a throne. Lucifer sat upon it, not as a savior, not as a tyrant, but as a king of will. Time silent. Prophecies echoed across creation. A war not ended, a reckoning to come. Lucifer heard and smiled. Even chains subsidized a voice minimized of heaven. So he waited, in the quiet, in the dark. Not broken, not gone, bound only to time and destiny. In heaven, the stars returned, but never quite the same. A silence lingered in the harmony of light. Michael stood guard. The Creator watched in stillness. Among mortals, a whisper grew. There was once an angel who dared to dream. Not a monster, not a savior, something in between. And his story still falls with every shadow, still rises with every light. The fallen, the builder, Lucifer. And so he fell, not in fury, but in silence, not in flames, basic, but in thought. He who once lit the heavens now rules the void. Was it pride? Way. He does not turn. You might miss Warrend, even indicingly he lonned. You might says that restarting indicently, but he started true and telling you, Harel was racing true another justice sail and set up strongs. In the clicking, who once lets the void. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like and subscribe for more. New episodes drop every week, so hit the bell icon to stay updated. Dive into our other series. There's a whole world waiting for you beyond the veil. See you in the next video.